Wednesday, July the 8th, 2026. Anachronism number 5122 is called Dorky Park. It was a beautiful day. I was strolling through one of St. Petersburg's most prominent parks. Yes, it was a tourist attraction. I was a tourist on a 2-night stop on a Baltic Sea gay cruise, if you can imagine that. I like to imagine it. Even though I'm pretty sure I was there, I have photos, and the port's architectural skyline burned into my brain. So it must be true. Anyway, if it was, as we were strolling through this tourist area in St. Petersburg, suddenly there were a bit of a louder set of vocal noises coming from the sidewalk that our tour guide has us strolling down towards some magnificent destination, I'm sure. I turned around to see if I could determine what the hubbub might be, and all I noticed at first was there was a group of people of various ages and heights, women and men, it seemed, dressed perhaps a bit differently than the rest of us, and they were hauling ass down the sidewalk around amongst us naive foreigners. It all happened quite fast. The group sped through and were gone. It was only shortly thereafter there were murmurings of pickpockets. My gay cruise tour through the middle of St. Petersburg had been targeted by a professional gang of pickpocketers. The story of what had been taken started circulating around. They had done quite a bit of damage to our little group. They got nothing from me, though. I had been, as is my habit, walking with my hands in my pockets with my left hand wrapped around my wallet, which I had for many years been placing in my front pocket for fear of it being pickpocketed. I wouldn't have had that much in it. Much more, I suppose, than I've carried around in a very long time, I'm sure. But for a foreigner in Russia on a guided tour, not a lot, relatively speaking, I'm sure. For a long while back when I had friends, one by one, they each began getting mugged in my city here in San Francisco. That was a rite of passage I wanted nothing to do with. I've no second thoughts about wandering the city, even some of its most traditionally shady areas in the middle of the night or very early in the morning before the sun rises. It's not a city that is up all night, the kind I thought would have been for me, but there is something calm and comforting to me about walking at night through a quiet, sparse metropolis. But I generally stay on the streets when I walk and move swiftly, always aware of what's going on around me, so I suppose fear has been a huge motivator for me in general, and probably is for many of us. But in this age of bullying and fear-mongering dispensed for power and money, I find myself growing complacent. Perhaps this is a personal protest to what has changed most significantly to my eyes on this planet we inhabit. The pickpocketing gang was more of an amusement to me at the time than anything else, but the pop of a firecracker or the initial rumblings of an earthquake are enough to make me jump and run in a frenzy in search of whatever impulse has me think of as safety. Or safer. I don't want to die a tragic death. This seems like a universal desire, but maybe I'm headed there. 16 years ago, I was on a gay cruise on the Baltic. I visited Russia. I haven't been outside of the San Francisco Bay Area but once in the past 15 years. I know I'd take the onrush of that gang of thieves over complacency, over another 10 years of complacency, or just to have another 10 years, just to force myself back out into a perhaps more dangerous world, just for a few more international adventures, maybe walk the city night through the streets of a city that is abuzz at all hours of the day and night. How to build such actions back into the realm of possibility? That's the question I'm realizing with a lot of sadness that I have at the moment, forcing a soliloquy on the distinct possibility of a lack of hope for such an outcome is worth a try, I suppose. I hope? Sure, why not?